Real America's Voice is now breaking through the white noise of the mainstream media.
Just download the iHeart app and you'll have all of us right at your fingertips.
Scan the QR code and start streaming RAV anywhere you want.
Real America's Voice, available whenever you need us.
It's never been easier to stay connected with the voices you trust.
RAV on iHeart means you can take us with you wherever you go.
This is huge. The truth on iHeart. Ready whenever you are.
From Charlie Kirk to Steve Bannon, Jack Posobiec to Grant Stinchfield, you'll find all your favorite RAV hosts in one place.
You can listen on Spotify, Apple, Pandora, or Amazon. RAV is now available everywhere you get your podcasts. All you need to do is scan the QR code right now.
Download the iHeart app today and get ready for Real America's Voice.
Scan the QR code and join the RAV movement.
Good evening, America, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of Just the News, No Noise. I'm your host, John Solomon, reporting as always from the nation's capital and the wiredtofishcoffee.com studios. You know about this. Wired to Fish Coffee is the official coffee of Just the News, not only because it tastes great, but because it does good things with its proceeds. It supports Christian faith organizations and conservation, two things that are very close to my heart. You can get a 10% discount on all of the great products, their coffees, their mugs, the Just the News mug. All you gotta do is point your camera at that QR code on the screen there, or use the promo code JustNews at checkout and you'll be in business. All right, we've only had 17 days of the Trump presidency and already the world has changed dramatically. Promises are being delivered at record pace. Accountability is being meted out, and today, a little bit of vindication. Just a few minutes ago over at justthenews.com, we broke this story. The Office of Special Counsel, the Whistleblower Protection Agency for Federal Employees, has concluded that those two IRS whistleblowers, we had them here on the show, Amanda and I did, Joseph Ziegler and Gary Shapley, that they were wrongly retaliated against by the IRS by being removed from the Hunter Biden case and then also getting communications gagging them from telling Congress and others about what they knew. According to the OSC, that's a major finding. It's rare for the OSC to find that level of retaliation in a criminal case. We have all the details over at Just the News. We hope to get the whistleblowers or their lawyers on the show tomorrow night. But in the meantime, that vindication raises the question, what will the accountability be? What will happen to the prosecutors and the IRS officials who tried to retaliate and stop Hunter Biden from getting the justice he deserved? The letter we just got a hold of raises that question. We'll see what the Justice Department said. Meanwhile, the new Attorney General is quick on the job. Pam Bondi started her job officially today after being sworn in almost immediately. She began to have a profound impact, starting with the fact that she signed an order freezing all Justice Department funds to sanctuary cities, creating accountability for cities that won't cooperate with ICE or help get rid of illegal aliens in the country. And secondly, she's reportedly considering ordering all of her lieutenants to investigate the Trump cases, all of them, including the New York hush money case, to see if any improper politicalization went on inside the Justice Department and the FBI. Amanda, now that's accountability, that's vindication, that's progress. I think the sort of things Americans were looking for when they elected Donald Trump in November.
Yeah, I guess all those potholes that I'm used to dealing with in Los Angeles are not going to get filled because the city of LA certainly can't afford to pay for it themselves. Yeah. All right, everybody, President Trump just a few hours ago signed his executive order to keep men out of women's sports, and it was received with much fanfare at the White House, with all kinds of advocates for women's sports being invited, including a friend of the show, Riley Gaines. Here is what President Trump said moments before signing the historic order. Take a look.
With this executive order, the war on women's sports is over.
I really liked seeing all the little ones around him. That was really nice. And speaking of federal funding, the president also warned schools in America that they will not receive federal funding if they allow men to take over women's sports. And I also want to get to the topic of government spending, particularly to continue the conversation on USAID, because there's still no shortage of Democrats who are very upset with what the Trump administration is doing in that agency. And you know, I would say more, but I saw this great clip from Senator John Kennedy that kind of sums up how a lot of folks are feeling, so I'll let him say it.
Some of my colleagues are screaming like they're part of a prison riot, that this is unconstitutional and wrong, and they're very process driven. In my opinion, they should be substance driven. By that I mean the central question here is, what are we spending taxpayer money on?
Yeah. He always has such great sound bites.
He does.
And he's also right. Why is there no outrage over the clearly wasteful spending from the Democrat side of the aisle? If their hill to die on is standing up for U.S. aid and spending $1.5 million of American taxpayer money to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, or $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, all things that U.S. aid is really spending money on, according to the Trump administration. I don't think it's going to work out too well for them if that is their hill to die on. All right, John, I think it's time to get to our very first guest of the night, one of our favorite folks from South Carolina.
We're going to have some fun on that topic on the USAID. Tomorrow we're going to show how $9 million made from USAID directly into an al-Qaeda affiliate. It's a remarkable story. It's a Justice Department case that hasn't got a lot of attention. And we're going to show, if you wonder why Democrats are whining so much about USAID, maybe it's because George Soros and his affiliates get a lot of money from there. We're going to have all that tomorrow morning. Stephen Richards will have the story on the site. We'll address it tomorrow night. All right. We've been talking about cutting spending for a long time. It was only aspirational as long as Democrats were in charge of the Senate and the White House. But now with Donald Trump in the White House and Republicans in control of both chambers, the spending axe is swinging quickly. And our first guest tonight has been a champion, a voice of reason, a voice of common sense in Congress for a long time. And he's now going to get his wish. He's going to be able to shrink government. Joining us now from the great state of South Carolina is Congressman Ralph Norman. Congressman, great to see you on the show.
Well, great to be with you, John and Amanda.
I think of all the times we've had a chance to talk to you and all of the passion you've had for cutting government and getting that wasteful spending and that inflation, those interest rates down, you're now going to be able to do it. Bring us up to speed on all the progress that's going on behind the scenes in Congress.
Well, first of all, when President Trump was elected, it was like a black cloud had been lifted from the American people. It was great. I wish every American could have been in the chambers when he was elected. No, we're making progress. As each of you know, reconciliation is once in a lifetime almost. We've never had that since, I think, since 2017. We're coming together on some baseline spending cuts. Cuts have been kind of few and far between in Congress since I've been here and since 2017. We want to pass President Trump's agenda, which is deportation, fully funding that, the military, funding that, Tax Cut and Jobs Acts, we want to fund that. And, you know, it's just a real relief that now we're not just talking about it, but we're doing it. And I think the House will have a resolution very soon. The budget will, and I think the American people are going to be proud of it. Is it everything I would want? No, but it starts the ball rolling in the right direction. And I think it's a good time in America right now, all the way around. But you can't do much if you don't get the financial house in order. So I think we're beginning the process.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Sir, and a part of this is going to take care of the codification of a lot of these executive orders that President Trump has put out there. And, you know, President Trump has moved with such rapidity that it has pretty much blindsided Democrats. As soon as they get around to figuring out their messaging on one thing, Donald Trump has done something else that they find outrage-worthy. Can Congress move with that same rapidity to codify everything he has done via executive order so that these things have a little bit more permanency the next time around?
Absolutely, man. I don't see the Republicans, objecting to anything he's done. I mean, look what he's done for the country. Look what DOSH will do for the country. And what President Trump has done, it ought to be codified. The tax cuts ought to be 5 or 10 years. That ought to be codified into law. And I can't think of anything that anybody really would disagree with, and particularly with the latest thing on the U.S. aid and where the money went. Follow the money in this country, you'll follow where the emphasis is, and the American people aren't going to like what they see.
Yeah, I think that's right. They are liking what they're seeing right now with President Trump, though. It is moving with a velocity I've just never seen in my 35 years here in Washington. Sir, I want to talk about something else that you champion. You have been a voice of passion in trying to stop the fentanyl scourge in this country, in your own home state. Big bust this week in South Carolina showing the great men and women in law enforcement scoring wins there. But there's an important piece of legislation coming up for a vote in the House later this week. Tell us about it.
Yes, what it does is makes fentanyl a type 1 drug. It puts penalties on it from first offense, a minimum 5 years, up to 20 years. It puts stiff penalties on those caught selling it, and not only selling it, but those that are using it. And what Trump is doing at the border to stop the flow of fentanyl is going to be a big proponent of this. But this is a long time. It should have been a long time ago. But we couldn't stop the flow up until now. And making fentanyl a type 1 drug, it's easily made. There's a lot of money the gangs are making on it, and putting these penalties there will make and the term that they serve when they're caught will make them think twice before they do it. I doubt we get many Democrats, but it's going to pass the House either tomorrow or most likely tomorrow.
That's great.
Well, and sir, just a few days ago, the Senate hosted a hearing on the dangers of fentanyl. So that makes me think that there will be a lot of folks on the Senate side of things who are amenable to this bill. What do you suspect what will happen with the passage over on the Senate side?
I think it'll be an easy vote for most of the senators. And it's affected everybody, Amanda. In South Carolina and Chester, as early as today, that they found fentanyl that would kill, up to hundreds of thousands of people. And the risk is too high, not only for the people, the citizens, but it's for the law enforcement that find it and have to patrol this. It's a tough job for them. It's a dangerous job. So I think it'll sail through both chambers, and of course the president will easily sign it.
Yeah, 3 pounds of fentanyl in that bus, enough to wipe out an entire city. Just remarkable, and great work for the men and women of law enforcement in South Carolina. Sir, with DEI rescinding, it actually has an impact on anti-Semitism because the two are very connected. But there's a remarkable moment. I had a person approach me on the street yesterday and say, "You know what feels good about America right now?" I said, "Well, a lot changes." I said, meritocracy's back. We're a country of merit again. The moment of DEI's rescission seems to be also the restoration of merit in America. How's that going to make government, the workplace, sports better?
Well, what it's going to do is it's going to, for every sector of our economy, any business organization, schools, it's going to you're not going to be judged and given a promotion based on the color of your skin. It's based on meritocracy or merit. I was at a banking committee hearing today, and I mentioned that same thing because we were talking about the cost of putting people that don't really measure up to the job that they're placed in, and you're giving them automatic raises because of the ethnicity is not right. It's not right in med schools to promote those over more qualified candidates, and TSA agents, and also the air traffic controllers. Imagine having, and the president rightfully brought that out, that the DEI could have played a role in the crashes that unfortunately happened this week. So it's a great day for America. The president's got the strength to call that out for what it is, and every call we've been getting in our office is supporting that wholeheartedly.
Sir, the president is a masterful showman. He always knows what things should look like to catch the eye of the American people. And today he signed the No Men and Women's Sports Executive Order. And this is an issue that Democrats have screamed from the rooftops about, saying that it discriminates against transgenders. But for the American people to have this visual of all of these young girls around President Trump supporting him as he signs this executive order, do you think that changed some hearts and minds?
Absolutely. And, we had Riley Gaines, who is a tremendous spokesman for this very issue because she was done wrong and had the strength to call it out for what it was. And, biological men playing in women's sports is not right. It doesn't, it just should not ever even have been an issue for this country, but it has been. The left has promoted it. And yes, they're crying out like they do on everything Trump is doing now. But this one ought to be an easy one to codify, and it's long overdue because a lot of women have been robbed of winning things that they should have, and men should play no part in that. Let men play in men's sports, women playing women's sports.
Yeah, what a great role model Riley Gaines has been for all young women coming up in the ranks of sports and just coming up in society. She's a remarkable hero. Sir, one last question for you. As this reconciliation package gets firmed up, do you have a target in mind of how much in fixed spending and discretionary spending might be able to be reduced in this first whack at it?
Well, I know the first number that we had that was proposed, $550 billion, was nowhere near solving the math problem that we have in this country. I would love to see from $2 to $6 trillion. It's going to be an effort to go as high as we can. From what the talks we've had today on the cuts, I've been encouraged, and I think we're finally getting it down to put it in writing. And, it's a combination of everybody giving some. But, Washington has a history of being easy on spending, but not so easy on cuts. And that's got to change now because of where we are financially. But I think anywhere between those numbers, 2 to 6, I think would be a great day in America.
Yeah, and it would be. I just want to remind everybody watching, long before Doge was a fashionable thing to be proud of, you were on the front lines advocating for this common sense cutting that's now going on. You deserve a lot of credit for holding that line for a long time, sir. Good to have you on the show today.
Thank you a lot, John, man.
Yeah, we appreciate you so much, sir. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we've got a lot more going on, including an extraordinary story about waste and abuse at USA Today. It is mind-boggling. The more we learn about it, the more you get mad. We'll have some of that right after these messages. Hey folks, we're all human. I don't always eat healthy. I know you don't always eat healthy too. That's why doctors created Field of Greens, a delicious glass of Field of Greens daily. Is like nutritional armor for your body. Each fruit and vegetable is doctor selected for a specific health benefit. There's a heart health group, lungs and kidney groups, metabolism, even healthy weight. I love the energy I get with Field of Greens, but most of all, I love the confidence that I have. Even if I have a cheat day, I can enjoy it guilt-free because of Field of Greens. It's the nutrition my body needs daily. And only Field of Greens makes you this better health promise. Your doctor will notice your improved health or you get your money back. Let me get you started with my special discount. I've got you 20% off your first order. Just use the promo code JUSTNEWS at fieldofgreens.com. That's the code JUSTNEWS at fieldofgreens.com.
Why is Navage trusted by millions?
Before Navage, I was not living my best life because I could not breathe. Constant nasal congestion, constant blowing of the nose. The huge difference is the fact that Navage pulls it out. It's very gentle in the sense of when that suction happens, it's literally grabbing that water and that mucus and it's bringing it out into this tank. It's worth every penny that you pay for it. This product changed my life.
Available at major retailers or online at Navage.com.
Allegiance Flag Supply believes American flags should be made in America.
Our symbol of freedom made outside our borders, that did not sit right.
Join us in our mission to keep the American flag truly American. Don't settle for flags made elsewhere.
Every flag is proudly crafted in the USA with superior materials.
Visit showallegiance.com to order your high-quality, made-in-America flag today. That's showallegiance.com.
In a crisis, your number one need is food. But here's the good news. 4 Patriots is offering a special buy one, get 2 free deal on its best-selling 72-hour survival food kits. Hurry, go to 4patriots.com now.
I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name.
The crime of title theft. What is that?
What that means is that they're able to steal the title to your home. The thing about home title lock is that never has to happen. They notify you when there's any change to your title. Title fraud is real, it's scary, but now there's a way to protect yourself.
Give us a call or go to HometitleLock.com today.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you.
Call 1-800-319-0257.
Welcome back, everybody, to Just the News, No Noise. The waste and abuse of taxpayer money inside USAID has been blowing up ever since Elon Musk and President Trump shed light on it a few days ago. But there's another group who has been talking about it going back absolutely years, and that is Judicial Watch. And its president, Tom Fitton. Tom is also the author of the book Rights and Freedoms in Peril, an investigative report on the left's attack on America. Tom Fitton, Tom, great to have you back. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Amanda. Thank you, John.
I actually want to start with your book because I don't think the left is ever going to stop attacking. But now there is a new fighter in the ring who is counter-punching. We were just talking to Congressman Ralph Norman. He said it feels like a dark cloud has been lifted over Washington. Your thoughts?
Well, the energy and speed of reform that President Trump has brought to the presidency, I don't think the country's ever seen anything like it. I mean, normally we measure this type of activity in the 100 days, right? And he's done more in 2 weeks, I think comparable to the full presidencies of other presidents and then those who've preceded him in the Oval Office. Certainly, the first term I thought was consequential. His first 2 weeks has been as consequential a presidency as certainly Reagan's was. In terms of government reform and oversight. And the idea that we're now talking about curtailing in significant ways the size of the federal employment, government officials that work for the taxpayer, it's first time in 40 years, going after USAID, which has been on the list of agencies that have been particularly pernicious in terms of undermining the American way abroad, misusing tax dollars to fund the left's advocacy abroad in a way to undermine our national security policies, our foreign policies, and whatever remains of conservative policies in the countries in which they're targeting. What a great start to an administration. And there's much more to be done. Congress, as Congressman Norman was noting, is way behind the 8 ball on these issues, but the president is making up for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he sure did. He's dragging the entire institutions of Washington up to the front line with him. It's pretty amazing to watch. We're going to have a nice story tomorrow that takes a look at how $9 million of money ended up from USAID to a gentleman who sent it to the al-Nusra Front, the al-Qaeda affiliate and banned group in Iraq and Syria. It's a crazy story, but it shows how bad USAID's vetting is. Previously, we documented how USAID funded a lot of those censorship organizations, but the very first and great work that I ever saw done in USAID came, I think it was 8 years ago, when you at Judicial Watch sued in 2017 and got the record showing a pretty large liberal mega donor was kind of using USAID for his liberal remake of the world.
Yeah, so George Soros has the Open Society Foundations and organizations, and he's not only active here in the United States, but in other countries. And conservatives in these other countries are disturbed about his advocacy for left-wing values, and he's often been able to partner with the State Department, USAID, to advance these values. And we've exposed how government money was sent either to, in partnership with Soros's operations directly, or groups he supports in countries like Macedonia, Albania. And I tell you, it doesn't take a lot of money to sway policy in a country like Albania or Macedonia. And of course, they're able to leverage the money. Any of these left-wing groups. It's not just Soros. It's the whole transnational left. They leverage USAID money to lend credibility and political power to their advocacy for the radical left in these various countries. So they get the rubber stamp of approval and the tacit support of the U.S. government through USAID monies. And the spigot has got to be turned off.
Yeah. Tom, and there are other initiatives that USAID paid for, and that, of course, is with taxpayer money, and it's not necessarily to the extent that it's terrorist organizations, but it's, we mentioned this at the top of the show, $47,000 to Serbia to institute DEI initiatives, or $1.5 million, and then $47,000 to Colombia for a transgender opera. Pull back the curtain for us, because I'm trying to figure out why people in that agency have those desires to fund those things in other countries. Is it one of these things where the initiative gets snuck in there there and it falls between the cracks before anyone can figure out it's there?
It's a plaything for the radical left. And, they pretend to be in favor of civil society, and their definition of civil society means groups that are advocating for this extremist these extremist views on culture and such. I mean, the issue about that program in Ireland, why is a development agency, forget about the nature of the program, some crazy play, why is Ireland getting development money from the United States? Mm-hmm. And I tell you, foreign aid, the idea of government-to-government aid, outside of military aid is suspect. But for the United States to be intervening in other countries to advance this radical cultural agenda or political agendas that try to institutionalize the neo-Marxist approach and governance, I tell you, it's more of a way to make enemies than to gain influence.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Yeah. One thing we learned today from many federal agencies, not just USAID, was that there's quite a racket going on in the legacy media with federal agencies routing millions of dollars in subscriptions to places like Politico for Political Pro, the New York Times, we found a large amount of money there. The fact that that's getting highlighted, and I think Carolyn Levitt said at the podium, saying, we're not buying new subscriptions anymore. That's out the door. A reckoning and a dirty little secret that the media kind of kept from the American public this whole time.
Well, when you see just 37 subscriptions to Politico Pro,
yep,
which evidently was, I don't know, $20,000 a year per subscription.
Yeah.
That's one agency. You think they're not doing it at Labor? You think they're not doing it at DOJ or any of these other agencies?
$8 million to Politico we tracked across 14 agencies today. $8 million from just 14 agencies.
Unbelievable.
And Politico is down to the dumps in terms of their ability to function as a business. Yeah. This goes back to the issue I was talking about. The left depends on federal monies to fund a lot of its operations. They don't need the money, but they depend on it. Why else would they threaten violence in order to keep the money flowing? Mm-hmm. Unless there was a personal interest in it. And USAID is just one of them. Labor Department, big funder of the labor left. Energy and environmental department agencies, they are promoting, funding the environmental radicals. DOJ has been notorious for sending money to allied leftist groups. So there's a lot of cleanup in aisle 6 for Elon Musk to do for President Trump when it comes to funding the left.
Yeah.
He's got a big bucket and a mop, absolutely. I'm pretty sure.
Before we let you go, speaking of funding the left, newly sworn in Pam Bondi, Attorney General Pam Bondi, is working very, very fast. She has directed the DOJ to withhold funding to sanctuary cities. I've lived in sanctuary cities. I happen to know that they don't give a hoot beans difference. They don't care at all about the illegal immigrants. So if they are not getting the money from the federal government, does the funding dry up and then the sanctuary city itself dries up?
Oh, the big question is if legally is that going to hold up? I mean, the Trump administration tried to push back on that previously in the first term, and they were unsuccessful largely. If there are government officials who are obstructing law enforcement investigations, and obviously there has to be criminal investigations that will go on, and this is where Congress needs to step up and step in and make it clear that local officials who engage in these sanctuary city obstructions lose more than just Justice Department enforcement dollars. These are grants by the Justice Department for policing and such. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of other money that flows to the states that should have more strings attached as it relates to immigration enforcement.
Yeah. Top Justice Department official today just announced that they are looking at a sheriff in northern New York for possible criminal prosecution because he did release someone who is on a retainer, who is a violent offender, made the feds go get him and catch him again. Yeah. That's the sort of thing that might send a big shockwave through the law enforcement community. It sounds
like Trump is daring them to resist.
Go do it.
Pretty great tactic. The book, again, everybody, is Rights and Freedoms in Peril, an investigative report on the left's attack on America. Everybody, go check it out. Go buy it. It is a brilliant book. Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton, thanks so much for being here tonight. And after the break, are we actually going to see American boots on the ground in Gaza, or is this just a negotiating tactic from President Trump? We'll see. We'll be back.
Hey, America, are you looking for a voice that really represents your values? AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, was created to champion the needs of Americans who believe in faith, family, and freedom, like you and I do. With over 2 million members, their mission is simple but powerful: to protect the interests of all freedom-loving Americans, safeguarding Social Security and Medicare, and advocating for common-sense policies. Members gain access to incredible member benefits, including the award-winning AMAC magazine, from exclusive discounts on travel insurance and everyday services to a strong voice in Washington. AMAC is here to make a difference in your life and our nation. Joining AMAC isn't just about benefits, regardless of your age. It's about belonging to a community that stands for timeless American values. In honor of President Trump's first 100 days in office, AMAC is offering an incredible deal. Enroll in a 5-year AMAC membership like I do for 47% off. Normally $60. Join today for only $32. Visit amac.us/justnews today to take advantage of this special offer. That's amac.us/justnews. Join AMAC and become part of a movement that stands for your family and your future.
I didn't ask to lose my mother or to be abused at 5 years old. I didn't ask to be kicked out of my house with nowhere to go. I just can't. I'm so sorry. I didn't ask for any of this. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there. Thanks to their love and support, and to generous people like you, I got what I needed to take control of my life.
No young person should ever have to worry about having a safe place to sleep at night, or whether anyone cares about them. For over 50 years, Covenant House has been helping youth in crisis and giving them the support and tools they need to succeed in life.
Call or go online now for a gift of only $19 a month, just 63 cents a day. You can provide care to more than 2,000 young people who sleep at a Covenant House every night.
Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today. There's no Covenant House, where would I be today?
When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, most of all love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges, and their lives are transformed.
Call or go online right now to safeplacetosleep.org with your gift of just $19 a month. With your monthly donation, you'll receive this soft, comforting blanket as a reminder of the warmth and safety your gift will provide a young person tonight.
Covenant House is changing the lives of young people in cities across America. Your support makes the work of Covenant House possible.
Your monthly gift is urgently needed to reach young people in communities like yours. Call the number on your screen or go online to safeplacetosleep.org.
Welcome back, America. Yesterday, right here on this show, you got to watch live that incredible news conference between President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Lots of news in it. Everything from Abraham Accords 2.0 were suggested to a U.S. Renovation project of the Gaza Strip and so much more. I thought we'd turn to one of the great security experts in this country to get some thoughts on just what played out yesterday and elsewhere in the world as well. Joining us now, the Vice President of the Lexington Institute and a National Security Analyst, Rebecca Grant. Rebecca, great to have you on the show.
Glad to be here.
All right, I want to start with the big one that all the media was going nuts over this morning. Trump says the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, level the site, rebuild it. Tell us the backstory, what's really going on here.
I watched that live last night and wow, I didn't see that coming. But remember, Trump's #1 goal is to have peace and prosperity in the Middle East. I think there are a lot of things going on here. Probably the #1 issue is that he wants to put some American capital down and use that to help others in the region. He described them as the nations of great wealth: Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. Try to get a focus for the redevelopment and reconstruction of Gaza. I think that's a medium-term game. Short-term, remember, there's another phase of the ceasefire deal to be negotiated starting next week. He wants to make sure Hamas knows America is still very interested in what's going on in Gaza. And big picture, he wants to see the Abraham Accords with more countries signing on, and particularly that Saudi and Israel deal. A lot of moving pieces here, but you've got to agree with them. Having Hamas in charge of Gaza, they had their chance, and it just did not work.
Great point.
It certainly didn't. And to what you were saying, it actually looked like Netanyahu was a little surprised when he said it as well. So I think there was a little bit of shock all around. I want to ask you about what, if we take President Trump at his word last night and things move in the direction of what he actually stated, there are some, 1.8 million people living in that small area. It is completely devastated at this point. But what happens to those people?
That is really such a good question. And, some of them are in refugee camps at this point. We know that neither Egypt or Jordan has been willing to take additional refugees. I think what we're really looking at here is somebody's got to go in and police and secure the Gaza Strip. And that's been the big question all along. Would that be the Palestinian Authority? They want to do it. Would it be something else? Would it be Israel? And so, unfortunately, we can't have the UN come in and do it. They've been completely useless. Yeah. So to me, this is Trump saying, yes, America is willing to take a leadership role here. And then what I think he wants to see is get this place cleaned up and then let the Palestinians who live in Gaza, people of Gaza kind of continue to live in Gaza, but they can't do it right now given the condition of the country. So I think he has this more almost idealistic view of trying to improve the place and knowing that it's going to take American leadership to get other international players on board and do the huge reconstruction project that place is going to need, along with the humanitarian aid to start at the beginning.
Yeah, taking a 7-year disaster and turning it into a 10-year opportunity for everybody. That optimism kind of goes through all of his foreign policy. It's very interesting. I want to ask you real quickly about Abraham Accords 2.0, Saudi Arabia, the most obvious, as you mentioned. The president mentioned Qatar several times in the news conference last night. Is Qatar one of those other countries that you could see a closer Israeli relationship with now that these Hamas ceasefire were really negotiated through Qatar?
Oh, absolutely. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and I think President Trump has several others in mind. Really, we want to see everybody in the Abraham Accords in that region. That's the only real solution, is to get the economic prosperity up and going to the point where people have a stake in that and can, kind of put down the weapons and stop the fighting because business is going well. So I would say absolutely with Qatar. I would really expect to see major movement with Saudi Arabia, who was so close to getting into that process before October 7th, 2023.
Great point.
Rebecca, I want to ask you about how this could contribute in a different way to the Abraham Accords, because as we have seen from the brilliance of the original Abraham Accords, even when you have bitter former rivals or enemies, when you open up the lines of trade and you have purchasing and selling between these countries, that's what kind of starts to rebuild the relationship. I know Gaza is not its own country, but if Gaza turns into a lucrative, viable region of Israel, does that contribute to any of these future possible relationships?
Well, a better economic solution there is key. And this was partly, why this is a solution we've been looking for all along. There was a great deal of trade and people going back and forth for jobs between Israel and Gaza at one point. We want to see that happen. And I think Trump is right to give some hope and say, yes, there are economic possibilities here. The whole region wants to do more in artificial intelligence, more in tech, as well as this typical type of trade. And this is just a great possible way forward. And he's really got to get the other countries involved for political as well as economic reasons.
Yeah, great point. Even in Gaza, it is about the economy so often, and that's something that gets lost in all of our conversations here. Rebecca, one last quick question for you. The president, working with Marco Rubio, put really tough sanctions back on Iran and Cuba today. Are those regimes a possibility of falling under this president? Could there be enough pressure applied to finally topple regimes that have been an eyesore to their people and a scourge to the world?
Oh, wouldn't that be nice? They really do seem to hang on. I'm hoping the maximum pressure on Iran will lead them to stop doing this nuclear enrichment. That's really backed up by our U.S. military and Central Command as well. With Cuba, who knows what that deal is going to take, but we know that maximum pressure sanctions on Iran have been effective. Of course, their big backdoor is their trade with China. And China has been keeping Iran in the fight, essentially. So Trump will have to take that on as well.
Yeah, great point. Rebecca, what a great honor to have you on. We're going to get you on a lot more often. We love the work you're doing at the Lexington Institute. So great to have you join us today. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a great conversation. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to ask this question. RFK could be confirmed, RFK Jr. could be confirmed as early as tomorrow as HHS Secretary. What's he going to jumpstart? How is he going to Make America Healthy Again right away? Where does that movement begin? We're going to try to answer some of those questions for you right after this commercial break. Hey, it's a new day in America and a new administration in Washington, D.C. There's a lot of excitement and optimism about the future, but the reality is there's a lot of work to do as well, especially when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. The truth is that the forces that are responsible for breaking our healthcare system aren't going to simply go away. The challenges our system faces won't disappear overnight. Now more than ever, you need to be prepared. That's where the Wellness Company comes in. Their doctors are medical professionals that you can trust, and their line of prescription medical kits are the gold standard when it comes to keeping you safe and healthy, as well as your family. Whether it's the medical emergency kit, the contagion kit, the first aid kit, or the travel kit, these prescription kits contain an assortment of life-saving medications and guidebooks to assist in the proper use of these medications. From the flu to strep throat, from COVID to the bird flu, from a trip to the beach to a trip overseas, the Wellness Company has a prescription kit designed to keep you and your family safe. Make America healthy again. Start at home. Do your part and protect the health of you and your family. Go to twc.health/justnews today and order. That's twc.health/justnews and use the promo code JUSTNEWS to save 10% off.
Did you know you could remodel your kitchen faster and for a lot less than at the big box stores? At Cabinets to Go, customize your dream kitchen with custom quality cabinets, countertops, and more. And enjoy a high quality, affordable kitchen makeover that is sure to wow. Visit one of our showrooms nationwide and get your dream kitchen today for as low as $149 a month at cabinetstogo.com.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
The FBI calls it house stealing, the latest scam where a cyber thief transfers the title of your home out of your name and steals your hard-earned equity.
It's roughly 60 to 90 days for that person to even figure out that they're the victim of this crime. You start getting foreclosure notices and you realize you've got 4 mortgages on your house that you didn't even know existed.
Unfortunately, it's on you to protect yourself. You might already be a victim. Check your title status now at HomeTitleLock.com.
Welcome back, America. Everyone who watches this show know a couple years ago, I embarked on a mission called Make John Healthy Again. I had to get in shape. I had to get my fatty litter less fatty and a little less sluggish. And I got some incredible help from our good friends at Pure Health Research. Now, RFK Jr. is about to take on a much bigger mission, making America healthy again. We thought we would turn to Pure Health Research, who helped me so much to get some insights on where that's going. Joining us right now, one of my favorites, Dr. Holly Lucille. Doctor, good to have you back on.
Right back at you. Thanks for having me. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
This is going to be an exciting week. I think RFK will be confirmed as early as tomorrow night, certainly Friday at the latest. He's going to hit a running start. He's been thinking about this for a long time. What does Make America Healthy look like 6 months from now? Where do we start the process?
Listen, I think just what your show says, our healthcare system has been a lot of noise. A lot of noise. And it's time to turn that down and actually get to business and getting people healthy again. I think RFK has the finger on the pulse, as we joked about what really matters. And I think he's about to take on some big things like pharma. You know, my parents were both pharmacists. I came from two pharmacists, and so well-versed in the here, take this approach. But guess what? The here, take this approach is not working in our country. Yep. We have one of the worst healthcare systems out there, and our outcomes for people, it's showing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just realized that the acronym still works with my name, Make Amanda Healthy Again.
Hey, look at that.
That's what I've been trying to do. Holly, I want to ask you, because, you know, for all of the things that RFK Jr. can do at HHS going forward, Americans have still enforced a punishing effect on our bodies, especially when it comes to toxins, and our liver has gone into overdrive. And I know Pure Health has a formula that is specifically for that, so that as we are looking forward to making healthier decisions in the future, we can help to kind of alleviate some of the junk that we've done in the past.
Absolutely. So yes, so we're thinking about liver health formula. We've talked about that before on this program. And one of the things I love about Pure Health Research is the way that they formulate their products, right? Combination synergistic formulas that work together in order to get the job done. Our liver's 500 different functions a day, and it's just an organ that's so important, right? All of our organs are our heart, our thyroid, all of them. But I would say that the liver needs the most support because of what you said, Amanda. The toxins and the hidden toxins, right? The high fructose corn syrup, the way that the food industry has really seduced our children and our palates to just addict, more and more of the bad stuff. So with the actions that are going to be proactive with this administration, I think we've got some reactive actions to take to clean this up and fix it. And so I would say that's where liver health formula comes in for sure.
Yeah, that's really great. When I started on my journey, and now when I listen to Robert F. Kennedy, there are three things that really are targets. Sugar. We've got to get that out. Food additives, some of these dyes and other things and preservatives that now other countries have never allowed into their food, but we do. And then all of the processed food that we take in because it's easier and convenient, but often not healthy for us. Whether you're just taking care of your own health or trying to deal with the country, those seem to be three big enemies that need to be tackled. Talk a little bit about the sort of remedies you have that can help us get started on that journey.
Absolutely. So first of all, thinking about a company like Pure Health Research, so formulas, non-GMO, no artificial chemicals, no fillers, no preservatives, right? So if you go to their website, purehealthresearch.com, and you look at any of their products, right? There's about 40 plus. And you'll see the ingredients, and each ingredient has a clinical study, right? So we're still following the science, even though this is more of a natural-based approach. And there are many different formulas. We talked about the liver health formula, but also one of the things that helps flush out toxins is our lymph system. So one of the best ways that I love is getting a good effleurage lymphatic massage, but also they have a lymph system support. That's really great. And then another thing, sugar, as you mentioned, and RFK as well, their amazing bestseller is the blood sugar formula. There is probably not a patient that walks through my door, or my computer when we're working remotely, that does not have slightly a metabolic issue, meaning high hemoglobin A1C. What does that mean? Your average blood sugar over 3 months, right? So the proof is in the pudding. You can take a fasting glucose, and you might be fasting, but you might have worked out, or what you ate the night before or drank the night before, it could show there. That hemoglobin A1C, when it starts creeping up 5.6, 5.7, 5.8, and I see it all the time, we have to get our blood sugar down. So another bestseller for them is their blood sugar formula.
Yeah. I want to sneak in one more question because that reminded me of something. Sure. I have been experiencing something, and the more I talk about it to people, the more I hear that they are experiencing the same thing. And it is that it's like an extreme sugar crash. I eat sugar, and then within 10 minutes, it is like I can sleep right away. Just a hard and fast crash. I know that sugar crashes happen, but is it normal to have that kind of crash? What does it mean?
It means that we are living in a modern day where there's confounded chronic stressors. So now we're pulling in the whole idea of our adrenal system, right? So sure, if you're healthy, you're young, you grab that Halloween candy, you can go and run around and you're not going to crash at all. Us as older people, our adrenal glands, right? So what goes up must come down. And the more we have stress on our nervous system, on our our sympathetic nervous system, so that cortisol release, that is where we get less blood sugar stabilization. And so that's where we start to see it a little bit more. And that's why one of the most important things when you're dealing with adrenal insufficiency or just kind of like being overworked, and look, if we had a more natural relationship with stress, we would have to move to get out of it, right? So a car is coming, or a polar bear is coming, or the locusts are coming, they're going to eat our crops. We would have to move. So that burns off our cortisol, it burns off our catecholamines that have been initiated because of the stress. But these days, you're sitting on a plane going back to DC and you're sitting in front of a computer getting an email, or we're watching the confirmation hearings. We're just sitting here being stressed and we're not moving enough. And so one of the biggest things to care for adrenal insufficiency is to eat smaller meals more frequently throughout the day and have protein with each meal so it stabilizes the blood sugar. So it's kind of like chicken and egg, but the blood sugar issue that you're talking about, Amanda, and the adrenal insufficiency, they kind of go hand in hand.
Pretty amazing. And the great thing is it's all solvable. That's really what's great. And over the last year, Doctor, you have done so much to put us on a course of understanding how we get ourselves healthy. And we're going to be forever grateful for that. Thanks for joining us again tonight. Really great to have you.
All right, but don't forget, they've got 50% off for the next 48 hours if you go to peopleresearch.com.
I know. I was going there right now because 48 hours sale. I love 48 hour sales. You'll save 50% on your order with the coupon code JUSTNEWS. You're protected by their 365-day money-back guarantee, which is really cool. So risk nothing by giving them a try like I did. Again, this is incredible 50% discount, only available for the next 48 hours. So shop and save now before it's too late. It's a great deal. Go to purehealthresearch.com, save 50% just by throwing in Just News as the promo code, or point your camera at that QR code. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up from a very busy day of news right after these messages.
Hello, Americans. Pat Boone here. The markets are getting a little crazy, and now is the time to protect yourself from economic turmoil. Silver is in the headlines and creating a lot of excitement as the price of silver is very attractive compared to that of gold, of course. Call Swiss America for the scoop on whether this silver opportunity is for real. See, today, silver faces a huge shortage due to rising demand by military, solar, and electric cars, which all depend on silver and can increase prices. So, to help you get started, Swiss America is offering beautiful United States walking Liberty half dollars, minted from 1916 to 1947, in 90% silver for a special introductory price. Limit of $250 per customer while supplies last, of course. So call or text the number on your screen to take advantage of this offer. Rediscover silver today.
Are you having trouble hearing your TV or listening to conversations in loud spaces? Then it might be time to consider Nano hearing aids. The days of expensive hearing aids are over. Nanos are FDA-registered OTC hearing aids. They are powerful, lightweight, and simple to use, and their tiny in-ear design makes them nearly invisible. Plus, they are rechargeable, saving you hundreds of dollars on batteries. Don't be fooled by overpriced hearing aids. Prescription hearing aids could cost $3,000 or more. Nano hearing aids are only $397. But wait, we are so confident you are going to love your Nanos, we are offering $100 off through this special TV offer. Call now and get 2 CIC rechargeable hearing aids for only $297. You get a free portable charging case, free 24/7 lifetime telephone support, free shipping, and a 45-day money-back guarantee.
Call 800-226-2107. That's 800-226-2107.
Welcome back to the final segment of the show. John, I want to reflect over the last, 2 years when we were all trying to follow the details of these investigations into President Trump and trying to keep them all straight in our head between D.C. and Florida and Georgia and New York and all of the subsidiaries thereof. And now those will finally be looked into. I think it's a big move.
They all have a common origin point. They're always somehow tied to the Justice Department of the Biden regime. And I think that is what Pam Bondi's order is going to get us to, right? Yeah. We know the Justice Department and the White House were talking to the Atlanta prosecutor. They know we were talking or sent one of their prosecutors to New York for the hush money case when the U.S. Justice Department decided it wasn't merited to bring criminal charges against President Biden in that Stormy Daniels case. And then, of course, we know that the Justice Department and the White House sicked the FBI on the National Archives to begin the classified records case, knowing full well that Joe Biden had a similar, maybe even worse problem because he actually shared classified intelligence.
And he wasn't the president.
Yeah, he was vice president, right? He was actually a former vice president.
Not have plenary power.
He was in his home, I think that this investigation will answer the questions that we've been denied for a long time, and I think there'll be a common thing, which is there'll be a few people in the Biden White House and the Biden DOJ that were driving all of this retaliation. And then when Donald Trump ran, they probably were engaged in a cover-up to get rid of the evidence before Donald Trump got back into office. I think that's a big thing. I want to touch on something else similar, because I think a lot of people were really bummed out when Joe Biden pardoned people like Anthony Fauci and said, well, you take our accountability away. Today, Alan Wilson, the South Carolina Attorney General, began a criminal investigation into COVID and its origins and other things, testimony, other stuff that may have misled the residents and citizens of South Carolina. It's a backdoor way to potentially bring prosecutive or other accountability to people who are involved in the pandemic. Keep an eye on that. I think Ken Paxton in Texas and Alan Wilson are going to lead the charge. But I think a lot of people thought, well, it's over with. And we kept saying, no, there's civil things and there's also state laws. I'd keep an eye on what Alan Wilson and what Ken Paxton are going to do in those two states as a possible way for people like Anthony Fauci to face some form of accountability, or certainly face some forth of a truth commission, which is what we need to get to the bottom of what really happened in that.
Yeah. And with a pardon, I mean, that kind of removes the Fifth Amendment aspect of a conversation or a testimony.
It does for federal, but they can claim self-incrimination in a state case, because if they're facing state charges. Remember, the federal pardon only covers federal law.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So Anthony Fauci, or anyone, if let's say they were facing state charges, they could claim the Fifth Amendment, but that would mean they're facing criminal prosecution. I don't know where that's going to go, but I just want to remind people that Republicans and conservatives have been much more innovative about getting around some of the foot in the street trip-ups that Joe Biden left for Donald Trump, and this is one of those. So I know you've been watching really closely what Marco Rubio has been doing. Well, he's off to a really great start as Secretary of State.
He really is. And I know that there were a lot of people who were a little skeptical about his adherence to President Trump's agenda as Secretary of State. But boy, he is doing a bang-up job when it comes to these deportations to Cuba and Haiti. And now Guatemala has announced that they are going to increase their deportations by 40%. You know, I think they're also going to take. Aren't they going to take citizens from other countries even to take them there? Yes.
Which is a huge problem. It solves a huge problem for the for the Trump administration. Where to put some of these people? Now they got a place to put them.
Yeah. If they run out of room at Gitmo.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? I can't remember what I was going to say. Anyway. You know what is, we were talking a moment ago about what's innovative with this administration. You know what is not innovative? The idea that men should be in men's sports and women should be in women's sports, and it shouldn't cross over. And President Trump, you know, like we were talking about today with Congressman Norman, just the visual of President Trump surrounded by all of those women and those little ladies supporting him in signing this executive order, I think it speaks volumes.
He saved their sports, and I think that there's no other way to say it than he did that. And Riley Gaines is that hero that every young girl should look up to. Too much on times Hollywood has given us anti-heroes the last 10 or 20 years, people we really shouldn't look up to, and we actually revile. Riley Gaines is a hero. She stood up for what she believed in. She stood up for all women. It came with a consequence for a while, but she prevailed when Donald Trump put pen on that paper today. And to anyone who knows Riley Gaines, she deserves a salute, a big salute tonight.
And you know what was great about this? It emphasized the fact that President Trump stands for women. When the left likes to talk about how they are the party of championing women, Donald Trump is the one who put pen to pad and actually did it.
He did it.
Because he was surrounded by
promises made, promises delivered.
And I'm going to have an article about that coming out tomorrow.
That's right. Can't wait to see it.
Absolutely.
By the way, your article today was trending all day. What a great piece of work.
I love it.
It's so good to have you watching. I'm just so
It's
proud
good to be here. It's good. It's a little cold.
Sorry about that.
I got to get used to this cold weather
Wait till
coming
August,
from Southern California. Yeah, that's true. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for being here with us tonight. We will see you again tomorrow night. Same time, same place. That's 6 p.m. Eastern on Real America's Voice. Grant Stinchfield is going to take the microphone and take you through the next hour. See you tomorrow.
Learning is hard work. Hard work requires character. Learning begins in faith. It must move upward toward the highest thing, unseen at the beginning, God. and freedom is essential to learning. Its principles must be studied